she's no stranger to wisdom and wealth at all. All right, this next speaker, all right, she is a powerhouse of purpose, passion, and perseverance. She's a proud wife of 4.5 years, a loving aunt, a bonus mom, godmother, dog mom. She wears many hats with grace and intentionality. At the heart of it all, she is a worshiper who finds joy in movement, whether that's through praise, dance, or melodies. She's been singing since the age of 3. A Detroit native, she graduated summa cum laude from Mumford High School, following in the footsteps of her grandparents, great aunts, and uncles who also walked its halls. Her roots run deep, and so does her commitment to legacy. Since 2017, she has carved out her place in the financial service industry, starting with credit repair, then expanding to supplemental health and life insurance. She ultimately discovered her true passion, educating families and business owners on how to build and sustain wealth. Her approach is simple but powerful. Shift your mindset from if or to both, and recognize that wealth is built through knowledge, strategy, belief, and most importantly, action. She empowers others to understand that financial security isn't reserved for the few, it's available to all who are willing to learn and apply the right tools. From foundation money management to building generational wealth, she equips families, business owners, and entrepreneurs with tailored strategies that match their goals and lifestyle. Her mission is bigger than the individual success. She's in the business of changing financial lineages and helping households shift their mindsets to embrace lasting abundance. Whether she's leading a workshop, mentoring clients, or simply sharing wisdom in everyday conversations, she is transforming communities one family, one generation at a time. I need you all to put those hands together and give a warm wisdom and wealth welcome to the money magnet herself, Demetrea Sherrill.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna have you as my MC at all times because you come with all the energy and I love it. I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Hear you great.
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so very much for allowing me to be a part of this amazing platform and opportunity again, Joseph. I greatly appreciate it. You've been doing this for a long time, and I am just grateful to be able to be a part of this platform with you. So, again, my name is Demetrea Sherrill. I am grateful to be here. I am your family's favorite financial strategist. I have a small little presentation I want to do here, and I am, as he says, he calls me the money magnet. I think it's great. I'm talking about money mindset today, and I'm going to go through some things that I feel like I've recently really started focusing on, and it has everything to do with clarity. So do I have permission to share my screen here? Let me make
Go
sure.
right ahead.
Perfecto. All right. So we are going to, please do let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Perfecto. Okay. So I'm gonna put you guys over here because I need to be able to see y'all face because then I feel like I'm talking to myself. All right. I need to just move this. All right. Hide this panel here. Okay. So the rules of the money mindset. There are absolutely rules to everything. Okay. Um, Hold on 1 second for me. I always forget how to make this thing go away. Let's see. There we go. Uploading. Is that it? There we go. Okay, had to get that out of my way. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The rules of the money mindset, an insider's playbook to the hidden mechanics of wealth generation. I know that when people hear the word mindset, majority of the time they're thinking about their beliefs. Is that true for y'all? I'm like, Cassie, I need y'all to unmute yourselves and I need y'all to talk back to me because it definitely feels awkward when you don't have anybody responding to you. So if belief is something that you typically hear or think of when you think of mindset, just say like yes, no, maybe
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
gotcha. All right.
Yes.
So with that being said, I would like to bring another option or another perspective when we talk about mindsets. Beyond just a belief, it has everything to do with knowledge and clarity. Because when you have a roadmap for something, your mindset towards the thing can shift. Okay. So we're going to go through a few steps of what I have come to the conviction of. I'll put it that way. This is my conviction of what the money mindset truly is: foundational structure, stability and growth, disruption and hidden paths, in the insider's edge. Now, I am a life licensed insurance agent. As Joseph said, I have been in the financial education industry since 2017 in different paths, and I have landed here in the life insurance path. But I don't teach life insurance as an initial form of communication, because more than anything, you have to have the correct mindset to understand how money works in order for money to work for you. And ultimately, that's the goal, is to get your money to work for you. All right, let's get into it. Has anybody in here played the game Monopoly?
Yes.
Yay, nay?
Oh yeah.
Does anybody
Yep.
not like the game Monopoly?
Not my favorite.
Too long.
It was never my favorite either, right? It was never but I'm gonna tell you the reason why it was never my favorite. It was not my favorite because my brother used to get on my nerves every time we played Monopoly, because all he did was buy up everything on the board. But why was that a problem for me? Because Demetrea never actually read the instructions and the purpose of why you played Monopoly. I was playing just because it was family time and I wanted to have family time and play the Monopoly game. But my brother understood the pretty much the objective of the game was to buy properties. That's not what I was. So he was buying properties before I was, and I was getting upset because I'm like, it's no purpose in me being here because you didn't bought up everything. But he went in knowing the goal. He was clear on what he was doing with the game, right? So imagine being there and no one gives you instructions on how to play Monopoly, but you start playing, you're gonna be like me and you're gonna lose and you're gonna be upset and you're gonna grow up and never like Monopoly, not because the game is bad, but simply because you weren't clear on the goal of the game. All right. Don't be like Demetria in that aspect. Okay. There's a saying that a chess player doesn't win by wanting to win. They win because they know how every piece moves. Okay. Most people are playing chess with checkers with chess sets when it comes to their money, meaning that the pieces are already on the board. Those pieces, when it comes to money, is taxes, debt, interest, and insurance. So today I'm going to show you how each move works. Okay. So the engineering of a money mindset, again, my conviction is for three things: knowing the rules, how the system actually works. Okay. Then you have knowing your goal. What are you specifically building toward? And then there is the plan, applying the rules within the plan to achieve the goal. If you're missing one of those, you're going to go off track, or you're going to have a more challenging or difficult time achieving the goal because you, number one, don't know the rules. If you do not know the rules, no matter what your plan is, it's going to belabor the time because you're going all around the circle without going straight through the tunnel because you don't have the rules. The pieces are set. All right. So we're going to go through the 4 hidden levers that control this board. Your board is your money mindset. Y'all ready to get into it?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I was a little quiet for too long.
Let's go.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Rule number 1 of timing is taxes. I usually show this video. I don't have it with me today in this presentation, but it is a video of a young man. I don't even think he's more than 7. And it actually has to do with him playing the Monopoly game. I should have added it to this presentation, but in that video, he is literally crying tears, the real tears where you hyperventilate tears. And his mom is asking him what his problem is. And he's crying and he's saying taxes. Taxes is his problem. That's why he hates the game, because he hates the taxes. At a very young age, little man understood that taxes can truly get in the way when you are trying to build something and you don't know the rules. So there's 3 sections. You have tax me now, tax me later, or tax me never again. I am going to ask that you open your lines and you tell me which bucket would you rather be in, the tax me now, tax me later, or the tax me never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Thank you. Never again, right? We have to understand that our tax strategy is our wealth strategy. If you're not thinking about taxes, then you're not thinking about wealth. Now, I am not a tax professional. You are to consult your own tax, your CPA for those type of information, but we all know the basis of it. We are all living in America. So we know a little something about taxes and where they come into play. So you have your tax now, which is your standard income. Then you have your tax later, which is going to be your qualified plans. By default, majority of people get into the tax later bucket because you do work a 9 to 5. So you have your 401ks, your traditional IRAs, and those things are taxed later. Now, I do want to ask this question. Let me slow myself down. Sorry, I get excited. Like Cassie said, you get excited and you just start going, you start talking too fast. When you think about taxes and you think about that tax deferred bucket, if I told you I was going to loan you $1,000 and we'll worry about, if I loaned you $1,000 and you wanted to know what those stipulations were for this loan, and you end up saying, well, what do I owe you back? Is it just 1,000? I'm like, yeah, we'll worry about what the extra interest is later. Would you be okay with that? Got it,
No,
right?
ma'am.
In the aspect of that, we kind of have to consider that when we think about the tax deferred bucket, because we don't know what taxes are going to be at the time of retirement when you're ready to actually withdraw those funds and turn on the distribution for those funds and those qualified plans. You're banking on whatever taxes is going to be at that time. There's people from different age range on this call here, some very young in their 20s, and we can have somewhere into their 40s, 50s, or 60s, even 70s on this call. So those of all the ones that are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, if you're planning to retire when you're 60 something, we don't know what the tax bracket is going to be at that time of retirement. So you're banking on keeping, if you're only using qualified plans as a form of retirement, you're banking on what the government is going to set those taxes to be at that time. So that's something that I want you to just consider. Again, most default to that tax deferred without knowing the tax-free options exist as well. We want to get into this beautiful magenta colored never taxed bucket, okay? Those who understand money, they don't just earn more, they keep more because they control when they are taxed. That's what we want to get to a point of being a little more in control of our finances. So rule number 2, the rule of leverage. We're going to talk about loans here. All right. Now the bank, we know that they don't spend their own money to make money. We know that they use leverage. They use our money to leverage, right? To make more money. That's what they do. Now we know that we're taught, at least I was taught. Was anybody else taught that credit cards are bad? Because I know when I got my first credit card, that bill came, that statement came in the mail, and my mother almost had a conniption, y'all. She made me cancel that credit. Now, I didn't need it. Don't get me wrong, because I got it for the wrong reasons. But if I had have known then what I know now, credit cards don't have legs. Let's put it that way. They can't up and go and walk and do anything that we don't make it do. Okay. So again, when we have clarity and we understand why we have the cards, it can actually be of use to us. It can be used as a tool. So a loan, same way. A loan isn't always a liability. In the right structure, it is a tool. And people who understand money, they borrow against assets. They don't actually liquidate them. Because again, we're trying to eliminate the taxes, minimize the taxes. So debt in the wrong hands, it is a trap. But debt in the right structure, it can be a bridge to that long-term goal. So again, knowing what the rules are will help you be able to implement the appropriate plan to achieve your goal. Let's keep going. I should have updated this. I don't like to use the word bank anymore. I like to just say the private economic system, okay? Because that word bank can get some people in trouble. So the private economic system is what I like to show my clients by utilizing life insurance, where you can have permanent policies such as your whole life, which gives you guaranteed growth, guaranteed death benefit, stable contractual floor. It is your foundation. You need something where you know you're not going to lose. The IUL, the Index Universal Life Policies, it is a market link upside with a floor of 0. Again, allowing you not to lose. You participate in gains and you do not absorb losses. A lot of people, I do understand that they think life insurance is about dying, but it's not. It's more about how you live and how you build. All right. So let's keep going. The master move, the uninterrupted compounding. Compounding growth is one of the most powerful tools that you use when building wealth. So for how it works inside of life insurance, I'm not giving deep dive teaching of life insurance. We're talking about clarity, right? But how it works within what we're talking about and building that private economic system. Inside the policy, cash value compounds uninterrupted, has tax deferred growth, but outside of the policy, those same dollars that are inside of the policy can be used as capital that is deployed into real life investments. That deployed into real life investments is just another word for saying you're giving your dollars another job, allowing your dollar to work for you in more than one place before we stop the forward momentum of the dollar. That is what we call opportunity cost. Okay. Anytime that you have funds, you have $5 in your hand and you go spend that $5, you stop the opportunity for you to make any other dollar on that $5 the moment that you spend it. But when we go invest it, when you put it in a high yield savings account or something like that, you're giving that dollar another job, another opportunity to make you another dollar before we stop the forward momentum of it. All right. So you can access capital via loans in a properly structured life insurance policy without triggering a taxable event or liquidating the asset. Money continues to grow while you use it. Income tax free to beneficiaries at death is what your family will get once your expiration time comes, and you own and control, again, a private economic system. Is this making sense so far? Yay, nay, maybe?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
Yes in a row. All right. So let's keep going. The diagnostic matrix. This is the part that I like as well. Purpose, place, and position is what matters. Again, I'm a life insurance agent, but I don't condemn or tell people to get rid of their 401ks, their Roth IRAs. I am actually for all of that because you have to know how to use what you have and for what situation. Everything has to have a purpose, everything has to have a place, and everything has to have a position. And only you will know where to plug and play each tool. So let's talk about it. To the far left, we have the tool side. You have your 401ks, your traditional IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your HYSAs, high yield savings account, and then you have your properly structured cash value life insurance policies. To the right of that, we're going to have the job that it has, the job that each one of those plays. Now, this is the most important part. Your 401ks and your traditional IRAs, they're tax deferred growth. You have the match if your employer matches the 401, your contributions in your 401ks. Now, the access is where we have an issue when it comes down to these qualified plans, because you have penalties before 59 and a half, excuse me. And then you also have RMDs at 73. Okay, that's required minimum distribution. RMDs is required minimum distribution. This is what you're required to take out at the age of 73. There's a certain amount based on what's in your qualified plan. So that access is pretty much restricted, right? And one thing we need to be more mindful of is positioning ourselves to have liquidity, use, and control of our money. That in itself is a mindset. If you are used to getting up, going to work every single day, simply just to pay a bill, we have to assist you in shifting your money mindset. All right. So what is the catch for the qualified plans? The exit costs are ordinary income tax. Anytime that you take a withdrawal from these qualified plans, you are triggering a taxable event. And what are we trying to do? We are trying to minimize taxes. All right. But with that being said, in order to minimize taxes, we have to understand, based on the tool that we have, the tools are going to be your portfolio. This is what the tools here, this is a portfolio. Most people have money in one or two or all four of these categories. Okay. And we're not even including investments. That's a whole nother conversation. All right, let's keep going down to the Roth IRA. Now, the Roth IRA is a good place to be able to have your money growing for you because it can grow tax-free. It's also a good exit strategy, excuse me, in a sense, okay? It is a bridge that we can use in our matrix, in the roadmap, in the goal plan. However, we also have to know the rules within the Roth IRA, strict contributions, which limits how much you can put into the actual Roth IRA within a year. You have to know that. I think right now for 2026, I believe it went up to $8,000 for the for a single person. It was 7,300 or 7,400. I think it's gone up for 2026. But again, you have to know those limiting rules for each particular tool. Now, the HYSA, the high yield savings account, this is something that you want to use for the liquid emergency reserves. Now, ideally, I'm going to go all the way to the right. The catch is the parking spot I have here for stopping at 3 to 6 months. But with the way that the world is working right now, I would actually encourage someone to have an emergency fund of anywhere between 9 to 12 months and an emergency savings fund. 9 to 12 months. Because when you think about it, if something were to happen to you, especially if you're the breadwinner in the home, or if you're a single person taking care of yourself, you want to make sure that you have a reserve that can take care of you in the event that you cannot work for at least 9 months to 12 months. Okay. And because of inflation, that's even more of the reason, because if you have a reserve of 9 to 12 months, that may in actuality only keep you for 6 months based on how inflation is moving. Okay. So there is high accessibility. This access column is very important because, again, liquidity use and control of your funds should be top priority when it comes to your money. Again, this is a mindset to have. When you have this mindset, it goes back to what Cassie was saying. When you have the goal set for yourself, you know what you're waking up for and to do every single day, it helps you to run smoothly. Same thing happens with your money. When you have a plan, a job, and a duty, and you know the position that your money plays or the account plays, your roadmap becomes much more clear, and you don't have to keep looking at it with worry. You can look at it with confidence. Okay. And we're going to get to that. So, properly structured cash value life insurance. This is my lane. This is my area of expertise. The job is protected growth and leverage. It has continuous compounding power. It is a lever. All right. So you have that liquidity use and control accessible to you when you have money parked in a properly structured cash value policy. It requires an expert architecture like myself. And that is an area where you're able to actually grow, save, and use all at the same time. So, little note there, your 401k is not a retirement plan by itself. I repeat, I know that's what we've been told, but a 401k is not a retirement plan all by itself because it's a tax-deferred savings account with restrictions. And a high-yield savings account is a parking spot, but again, it is not the final destination. All right, let's keep going. This is an example of an ultimate portfolio architecture because every dollar you have should have a job. It should be protecting, growing, and or be accessible to you when you know the purpose, the place, and the position of each tool. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is misused. All right. So the HYSA, the high yield savings account, and a properly structured whole life policy, that gives you your liquidity and guaranteed foundation because, again, whole life gives you guaranteed growth and it's fixed. The qualified plans in the Roth IRA gives you the accumulation and the growth, but it's a middle ground. It can't be specifically what you're using when you're talking about accessibility. Even when we're talking about the Roth IRA, there are still some stipulations on that when it comes to the withdrawal portion. It can still cause a taxable, or excuse me, not taxable event. It has penalties in it because you still have to be 59 and a half in order to get some form of certain withdrawals from it or loans from it. And, you know, that's a whole nother conversation that I'll get into at another time. Now at the top, we have the IUL, which is our leverage loop, which the whole life policy can be used as well. They're both tax-free access, continuous compounding, and legacy. It can be in an area all by itself. All right. So here's the missing ingredient. I've mentioned it a couple of times. Clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. The power of clarity is one, you get to make confident decision making. You get to stop waiting. You get to make more moves from understanding and not fear. Being able to make confident financial decisions is a power move. I will say that again. Being able to make confident financial decision is a power move because no one can mislead you. No one can misguide you when you know exactly where it is that you're trying to go financially. You have every account, every bucket, every envelope is set up with a purpose. If anybody remembers the envelope system that our people used to use, I think that was around the 60s. They really used the envelope system. This is the envelope system on steroids in a sense, right? Because you're putting your funds and your money somewhere where it has an opportunity to make another dollar without you having to go out and make another dollar. So what happens when you're in a position to make confident money decisions, you would get to attract more resources. Chaos repels, guys. That is just the truth. But lenders, partners, and opportunities, they do move toward structured plans. When I tell you that money and funds, not just money, but resources in itself. Resources is not just money. Resources are opportunities. Resources are people. This call that we're on, this is a massive resource, okay? Having the right connections with people are resources. But that only came into play because you have something in order where you may not have full clarity on your full financial plan. You have something in order enough where Joseph decided to reach out to you to bring you onto this platform. And guess what? The person that was invited on this platform knew someone else and invited them to this platform, which caused a whole network, right? Because opportunities come towards structured plans. Joseph had to sit down somewhere and get clear in his mind what he wanted the wisdom and wealth platform to look like. Once he got clear on that, he was able to bring in the right resources. That's the people. And that created a whole opportunity for other people outside of the wisdom and wealth community, which allows it to then grow. He is proof of what clarity looks like when you know exactly what you're moving towards. You can know all four rules and still go nowhere. But clarity is the force multiplier that activates the actual system. That goes back to what Cassie said when she talked about having a plan, when we talk about blocking off time on our schedule. When you get clear on what you're doing, the clarity is not just the big picture. The clarity is all the micro pieces within the plan that allow the plan to move. It is a system. When you think about here in the Motor City in Detroit, where I am, we are the Motor City. We have plenty of plants. There are several people on the line that have a different duty, but they all produce the same outcome, and that is that vehicle on the end of the line. So whoever came up with the idea of the vehicle, they don't have to put it together, but they can give you the blueprint of what the car is supposed to look like, and they put people in place. The people are the tools, right? And they utilize the mechanical tools to give the company the outcome of the vehicle. Protect the build. Stop being reactive. Anticipate and build around crises before they happen. I want to pause there because I know each and every person on this call has had to have a chance or a position in their lifetime where you were reactive with your money. An emergency happened. Something happened with the hot water tank. Something happened with the car. My question to you is, did you know where you were pulling from for that emergency to be taken care of? Did you have to pull from the vacation fund to take care of the car? Did you pull from the emergency fund to take care of the hot water tank? Did you pull from your retirement savings to take care of the car? This is where the tools come into place and having these different accounts so that you know where you're pulling from, what it triggers, what happens, and what it results in. All right, let's keep going. When you talk about the code, okay, We have to upgrade our operating system. So your current income plus the standard rules, it can equal stagnation, but your current income plus this Grandmaster blueprint can accumulate accelerated wealth. People don't have access to different money. It's all the same dollar bills with the same faces floating around. Even if you want to get in a digital currency, it's all the same. So it's not access to different money that's the problem. You have access to different systems. And every system starts with a plan. So at the moment that you are clear on your plan, that's when you can formulate the appropriate system. Once you see the system works, that's when you'll be able to reach your goal. Something that I did write down that Cassie said, she said, plan, do, study, and act. That's where this fits in, because you have to figure out what system works for you, and you have to keep going back and you have to keep readjusting that system until you see what actually works. Once you see that the system works, then you'll never have to worry again. When I say you will never have to worry again, that doesn't even mean that you will never go quote unquote broke again. What I believe, what my conviction is, you can have all the money in the world and lose it all. But if you have the appropriate system, it won't matter when you lose all that money, because you have the system in place that you know will rebuild that same empire again. Because the system is the proven fact. So if you've walked in here or walked into the call today with the same money you had before, that's okay. You can walk out now understanding how the levers work and get clear on your goal. And then you'll know that you can be wealthier, because now you will have the correct money mindset. Clarity is emphatically the first form of wealth. So let's build your board. You can make your move. I am, again, Demetrea Sherrill, your family's favorite financial strategist and systems architect. I hope this information was helpful. I want you to know that if you know your goal, you learn the rules. That is how and when you can start building the appropriate strategy for your private economic system. I hope this was helpful.